everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reflecting on my past 4 years of bullet journaling and also sharing some tips and tricks and also some of my favorite ways to create maximalist bullet journaling spreads with a limited amount of supplies. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, let's get started. So I started my bullet journaling journey in 2017. I didn't have a proper bullet journal, so I just used this empty sketchbook that I had lying around and decided to make good use of it and turn it into a bullet journal. So looking back on all of these, this is definitely not my bullet journaling style whatsoever, but it was a start. So I used this sketchbook for around 6 months before I transitioned to an actual dotted journal, so an actual bullet journal, where I started in 2018, and then I have been here for 3 complete years, and I'm going on to my 4th year with a bullet journal. So it's been around 4-ish years of bullet journaling. So I began with more of a minimalistic approach, but as I found my style, I quickly transitioned to more of a maximalist bullet journaling style. So that includes lots of washi tape, photos, lots of different styles of art, stickers, everything under the sun pretty much. So if you have watched any of my plan with me videos, you'll definitely notice that I am not a minimalist when it comes to bullet journaling. Even looking back on this 2018 bullet journal, I can definitely see how my style has changed. It was very forced back then, mostly because I was new to it and I wanted my spreads to instantly look nice. So I put a lot of effort into it, and sometimes when you put a little bit too much effort, at least for me, into some of my spreads and stuff like that, it just doesn't end up looking very good. So here we are, 2019. The beginning of it is already at a much better start, a lot simpler, and I think that really worked. So I started to spend a lot more time on my cover pages in 2019, so that included lots of acrylic and watercolor paintings. So I really like looking back on these. And here in 2020, I feel like I refined my style even more and figured out how to incorporate multiple colors into my spreads and themes while still making it useful and also nice to look at. So I can definitely see that throughout the majority of these. I use more than one color, and then in the previous years I was sticking to around 1, maybe 2 colors. So I experimented with that a little bit, and as you can see, some of them worked better than others. So I really like the September one. That one's really fun and colorful, but this October one isn't really my style. So that is just a quick look at my bullet journaling background and kind of how far I have come. Alright, so next I would like to share with you some of my favorite things about bullet journaling. So the first one is the forced creativity that it provides for me. So this may sound like a negative, but I like to think of myself as a pretty creative person, and with bullet journaling it gives me a reason to be creative on a weekly and monthly basis. So the second thing is that it is time away from a screen. As a student who is attending university completely online right now, it is especially helpful to have my planning on paper and not online, just to give my eyes a break. Next, I love how easily customizable the bullet journal is, and you can really make any spread that you think would best suit and fit your lifestyle, which I absolutely love. So I can easily change it up on a weekly or monthly basis if something is not working for me. And here are some things that I don't really like about bullet journaling. So first off, it does take some thinking and planning ahead, especially when creating the monthly spreads and setups. So that includes printing photos if you're using them, picking colors, making the actual spreads, and making the weekly spreads. So it does take quite a bit of time, and for some people that's not the best thing. The next negative is the lack of future planning. So even though I have previously made these future logs at the beginning of my bullet journal every year, but the reality is I don't really use them, and I find them very inconvenient to refer back to write in dates. So I'd say the bullet journal is definitely lacking from this, at least my method of it. But for now, because there's literally nothing planned because of the pandemic, I find that future planning super far in advance just really isn't a thing anymore. So I can deal with this lack of preparation for the future at this point. The next negative is the pressure to make your bullet journal pretty versus practical. So especially in the start, I was really trying my very hardest to make my bullet journal look really nice and wasn't really thinking about the practicality involved with it. So this resulted in a lot of squished looking spreads. I think that's the best way to describe it. But I feel like now I have achieved the perfect balance of making my spreads look pretty, but also practical for my everyday planning. So this might not be the case. Maybe maximalist bullet journaling isn't practical for you, but it works for me and I enjoy it. And here are some of my favorite bullet journaling tips for you, especially if you are a beginner. So my first one that I kind of talked on previously was find what works for you. So in the beginning, I made a lot of habit trackers and mood trackers and stuff like that because lots of other people did them and they look pretty, the colors are cool, so I wanted to try it out. And to be completely honest, it didn't work for me. For like the first couple of months when I was using it, I was really into using them, but then they slowly became less of a priority. But I would continue to make them and use it for like the first week or so of a month and then slowly fade out of it. So now I just have completely stopped using them and setting them up every month. My next tip for beginners is to keep your spreads simple, and I unfortunately don't have very many good examples of simple spreads because that's just not really my style. But in the beginning with this very ugly thing of a bullet journal, I did keep my spreads pretty simple. I just like boxed out all of the days and it worked well at the beginning. Keep in mind that if you're a beginner, the more minimalistic bullet journaling spreads will take less time and will require less supplies and probably result in you being a lot less overwhelmed than if you were diving straight into a spread with a lot of different elements in it. And not only is keeping the single spread simple when you're starting, but also go easy on the number of spreads that you are using at one time. It's really easy to go overboard with trackers and spreads, but start with a reasonable amount and build up your tracker and spread stamina from there. My next tip is to not bust your wallet all at once, especially when you are starting out. Start with your collection nice and small and slowly build it up over time. So I'd say I have quite the Tombow collection, but I only started off with 3 Tombow markers in the beginning. I had a pink, purple, and black one, so I'd recommend doing that. And then also the same thing goes with literally anything else. So here is my washi tape collection. I have just slowly built it up over the years, and it's just fun to add 1 or 2 washi tapes every once in a while to it instead of just buying them all at once. I think it makes it a lot more special this way. But if you would like to purchase some, I recommend getting some pretty neutral ones so they can be used for multiple themes and color schemes. A piece of stationery that I do really recommend is getting a good black pen or fine liner. This will serve you well and will be useful for literally every spread. If you are wanting to make some purchases for your bullet journaling, stationery, supplies, stuff like that, I recommend Crayola Super Tips. You definitely don't have to get the 100 pack like I have. You can get probably a 12 pack. There's great colors, they work really well, and they last a very long time. I just updated my Crayola Super Tip collection from I had it for 3 or 4 years and they were still doing pretty good. Of course, the black marker and some other favorite colors were starting to dry out, but yeah, they last a pretty long time considering how inexpensive they are. And you can also do calligraphy with them, which is kind of a cool little feature. And here are some ideas for some inexpensive bullet journaling supplies that you may already own. So first off, we have some post-it notes, there's colored, and then I also have these craft paper ones from Amazon. You could use masking tape, some postage stamps, these are from a thrift store. You could use paint chips, these I paid for, but you can also get the free ones at like paint stores and stuff like that. That'd be really fun to include in a bullet journal spread. Also, you can use pencil crayons, colored pencils, any type of markers or pens that you have lying around at home. And then you could also use graph paper. This is kind of a fun one to use. I used it in one of my spreads back in February and I loved the look of it. And also going off of this, you could use loose leaf for something different for like a school kind of themed spread. Other ideas include colored paper such as scrapbooking paper. I use this one a lot. You can use ticket stubs from different events and stuff like that. Just really anything that's lying around your house that you think could make something cool in your bullet journal. So just get creative, and I'm sure there are many other ideas. And that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any other bullet journaling tips, please leave them down in the comments. I would love to hear them. So that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you in my next video.